Hey guys, it's Linux Benchmarks here, and in today's video, I wanted to go over one of the new distros that have decided to do a brand new release, which is a pretty interesting immutable distro that I haven't tried in a very long time, which is Vanilla OS. Now, the reason I didn't try Vanilla OS for a long time was because they would decided to do a full rebase to Debian from Ubuntu. So this is why there's a new feature release in beta at the moment that is called Vanilla OS 2.0 Orchard. And I wanted to make a video about it to show you guys the new features and a bunch of other things explaining, what is APX, what is a distro box, plenty of other things, showing off like the new installer as well, and even setting it up for playing games. But before the video starts, here's a word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is Proton VPN, one of the most secure and private VPNs in the world with over 3K servers in 71 countries. Try it out for free to see if you like it, with Proton VPN supporting Android, Windows, Mac OS, even Linux, the operating system that I use. Pay $10 a month with 30-day back guaranteed if you don't like it. Also, Proton VPN offers Proton Mail, one of my favorite mailing applications that protects your emails with end-to-end encryption, so no one can read them at all, no matter how hard they try. If you really want to try what Proton VPN has to offer, go to the link in the description and sign up today. Now, if you've never heard of Vanilla OS and where like it originally came from, well, Vanilla OS is a immutable Linux distro, kind of like every other Linux distro, except that it is immutable, meaning that it's kind of a little bit more secure with how you install things and how updates work. So there's things like atomic updates, where, with the Abroot that they have set up, you can have these different current like states of updates. So they can pull out this like snapshot update and it'll have all these packages, updates or whatever, and so they can put it on state A, which is like your main partition that you're on, that you're running and you're using all your apps, and then there's state B. So if there's something wrong with that update, then basically you can go to state B and then either like roll back those updates or wait for new patches to arrive, so then you can go back onto state A. So it's really cool, immutable distros. But where the hell did Vanilla OS come from, and who actually makes it? Well, it's the creator of Bottles. If you don't know what Bottles is, it's a wine game manager where you can create these wine prefixes and you can install Windows applications and games. So he decided, I forgot his name, I think it's like Mirko, I think. Yeah, so like I said before, the person who is making this distro or maintaining it, I mean, it's not just one person, it's a lot of people. It's a community effort as always. But yeah, Mirko, I'm not going to say that last one, Brombin, something like that. Probably not how you say it, but yeah, Mirko, which is the head of UI and UX design and a core developer, and as the founder. So he's been maintaining this distro for quite a while now, for like over, I think, a year now almost. And when Vanilla OS 1 came out, I would say that it was still in its early stages of figuring out what they were trying to create. They had they created these really good ideas for like different tools like APX, but then they decided with Vanilla OS 2 that they would like completely like rewrite all this stuff, and that's why Vanilla OS 2 has taken quite a while to do, but it's definitely for the better, because like I've been using it and it's honestly really awesome, using a immutable distro plus all these extra tools that I'll talk about in the video. Now, of course, where do you go to download the ISO? Well, you would go to vanillaos.org. They have a lovely website that Mirko, I think Mirko made this, and he did an amazing job. Like, I've never seen a website be so well done with its font, colors, images. There's no ads or anything on this, so it looks so clean. But if you want to get Vanilla OS, there is a download button right here for you to go and download it. So we got the Vanilla OS 2 Orchard beta. So like I said, this is in beta at the moment, so There is a couple little bugs that you might encounter, but in terms of like features and stuff, it's already been done. There won't be many other changes arriving in vanilla OS 2, just bug fixes like I said. So you would go download beta. It has another lovely page, test beta builds like a pro, and then you would go to all the way down here, and there is a new build that has come out, so you just want to go to the download button here, and this will lead you to a GitHub page where you can download the ISO. Now, of course, for you to download this ISO, or as a zip file, you will need to log into GitHub to actually download it. So that's what I had to do. I had to log in to download the zip file. And of course, after you're done downloading that zip file, all you need is a flasher. So I grabbed Impression to flash it onto a USB, and I just booted into it. Now, so far, I had this problem a while ago on Vanilla OS 1 where I couldn't install it on my laptop. And I tried Vanilla OS 2, and it also wouldn't boot into my laptop properly to actually install it. So I could only install it on my main system. So that's why I created a dual boot where I have my main distro that I use and then Vanilla OS 2 on the other one. But yeah, I couldn't seem to boot into it on my laptop. No matter what I did, I went to my BIOS, I already had the secure boot disabled. I switched my boot options to UEFI, and Legacy. It was already on UEFI, but I switched it to Legacy, and it also wouldn't come up or boot properly. It just said that there was basically nothing on the USB to boot properly. And looking at like the issue page, it was talking about that the EFI boot wasn't included in the ISO, so that's why it wasn't booting properly. But I was able to boot up my main desktop, so I don't know how that works in particular, but I was able to boot into it on my main desktop, and I had to install it in a very weird way, as I couldn't do a install alongside on my main distro. So what I had to do was do the manual partitioning, which is actually, I'll show some screenshots of the installer. They did an amazing job with this installer. It's based in GTK 4 or whatever, so it's like, it looks really good. And with the manual partitioning, it's even better. Even though you have to open gpart to create the partitions, it does explain like what each of the things that you need to actually get the system installed properly. So I went through and created like, it was like a EFI partition, a boot partition, a root partition, a var partition, and then I'm pretty sure that was it. And then it installed properly, and then I was able to boot into it, and everything seemed to work. So after that was done, you would boot into it, and you'd be introduced into the Gnome desktop of Vanilla OS, which, like I said, it is using Gnome, which isn't my favorite desktop environment. I definitely like KD Plasma a lot more, and that's just because my like workflow, I guess, is a lot more better and for me than it is on Gnome. Even though I can get used to Gnome, it's just that its workflow is very unique and special, and it does look really cool when you are switching things around and launching applications. But yeah, there is no KD Plasma desktop at the moment, it seems, because I'm in the Discord and people have been requesting it, but I don't think it's available right now with KD Plasma, only Gnome. But one of the odd things that I did notice was that Vanilla OS is based on Debian, right? But it does include Gnome, which is Gnome 44. But then the weird thing is that there's some applications that are Gnome 45 and Gnome 46. So the system monitor is Gnome 46 Alpha, because this is the redesigned version of System Monitor that the Gnome development team has been redesigning, which isn't out yet because it's in 46 Alpha. So that's really weird. And then we have the Gnome Software Store, which is Gnome 45.3. So that's also a bit odd, but it's like a mixture of different Gnome applications, or like files, and as well. If we have a look here, I'm pretty sure this is Gnome 45. So I did check their roadmap because they have a roadmap page, and they did say that they were going to include GNOME 45, but it said that it wasn't guaranteed. So I don't know if GNOME 45 is going to be included in Vanilla OS 2, but it's like everything else, like the applications, GNOME 45 and 46. And I also saw this in the Zorion OS distro. If you don't know what that is, that's another Linux distro, and they package GNOME, and they also do the same thing where they package specific applications that are newer. So like the GNOME 45 applications for Nautilus, but the desktop it's running is GNOME 43. So like I said, that's quite odd, but it's also quite good that they include newer packages, as these newer versions of these applications do run a lot better and have newer features like the system monitor redesign in GTK4. That's really neat. But like I said in the intro of this video, one of the great things about Vanilla OS is that it's a mutable distro. It's also a bad thing for some people. I would say I'm in the middle. I definitely do prefer having system packages, a mixture. Like I can just choose if I want to use a system package or if I want to use Flatpak, which you can use system packages on Vanilla OS. It's just that it's not really a hassle. It's just a bit of like a different way of installing it, which I'll go through how to install a .debian package on Vanilla OS, which is it's quite easy with the VSO installer. But like I said, it includes this thing called Abroot, which has a A/B partition with atomic updates. So with other immutable distros, they do these atomic updates where they have like these snapshots of like new package updates. And basically what you're doing is you're reinstalling your whole operating system when that update gets included, instead of just trying to update those packages that you have already, where things might potentially break. Instead, what this does is it will literally just swap out the Debian root partition, and then put in a new one. But if something does go wrong, you can boot into the other state, which is the previous version that you were running, and you can continue to run that. So I think that's a really cool idea, and when it comes to actual like practical use, it does run quite well, and the updates do work really well. So I would say that's a really neat thing. And then we also have VSO, which is the Vanilla System Operator and APX, which are familiar tools for Vanilla OS users. In Vanilla OS 2, both tools underwent significant rewriting. So VSO V2 is no longer just an update manager, but also serves as the system shell. So when you go into your terminal, it'll actually put you into the VSO system shell, where you can actually start to like install different packages, do an update, do an upgrade, do a system upgrade, or even install Android applications through waydroid, which I just tried this like an hour ago, and it's awesome. Honestly, it's really cool that you can run Android applications through waydroid in VSO. Cool. Like I was playing Clash of Clans, and I'll show you some footage later in the video of me playing Clash of Clans. But it's really cool that VSO was created, and it's this system shell package manager, and it provides Android applications. So you see, users no longer have direct access to the system shell. Opening the console brings them to the VSO shell, an integrated Immutable Vanilla OS subsystem. It allows users to install and run applications as they would in any Linux distribution without affecting the system. Additionally, VSO now supports Android applications, which can be installed and run as native applications without the need for an emulator. So that's also really cool that it doesn't run as an emulator. I'm guessing it does some translation stuff, which is amazing, as that's kind of a lot better than versus Windows, where you have to install those emulators for running Android applications. So see here, the Android subsystem is isolated from the system and can be initialized at the user's discretion. To simplify the experience, we integrated the F-Droid store into VSO, allowing users to install Android applications without relying on external sources. So that's also really cool. They're using the F-Droid store, which if you don't know what that is, it's a FOSS store that allows you to install open source applications on your phone. So they use this in the VSO subsystem with waydroid. And it also allows you to do Debian and APX sideloading. So given the enhanced capabilities of VSO, we simplified the way users install unofficial packages. In Vanilla OS 2, users can install .deb and .apk packages by simply opening them with Sideloading application, which handles the instruction into the correct subsystem. So it comes up with this neat little GUI for installing whatever application that you have. So you can see here, they're trying to install Chromium as a APK. And then the process is straightforward. Download the .deb or APK package, open it with the sideload utility, and it's done. So that's really cool. That VSO is basically multiple things now. It's a subsystem, it's a package manager, it allows you to use Android applications through waydroid. That's really cool. And I'll show you guys how to do all this in the terminal and then actually loading up waydroid. But also what got a big rewrite was APX, the V2, which now plays an entirely new role. As before, I remember APX was actually for installing applications and creating subsystems. I think that's what was used before. I can't really remember. That was a bit hazy when mucking around with that. But it now serves as a powerful tool for developers and traders. It allows you the creation of custom environmental stacks for various needs. While APX v2 got rewritten from scratch, its usage method remains similar. Users can now create custom stacks, defining which packages to install and creating one or more subsystems based on these stacks. Despite the rewrite, APX v2 allows users to create custom stacks and access create subsystems through direct shells or by leveraging the declared package manager in the stack. Users can export the application to the main system and more. The only limit is their imagination. So responding to the common request, APX v2 supports package managers other than those provided in APX v1. It allows users to define the package manager to use in the stack. For example, users can create a stack based on Arch Linux, defining Yay as the package manager instead of Pacman, and install packages from AUR without issues. So it also includes a APX GUI. So this is where it becomes really user friendly. As I remember, I used APX and you had to use it in the terminal. And for someone that doesn't really use terminals that much, it was a bit tricky to learn all the commands. But after using it for a week, yeah, I mostly got used to it, but now there's a GUI, so it really brings in, a user friendliness where you can create these things really easily and create different subsystem containers like Arch Linux. You can just create an Arch Linux container with DistroBox and just install AUR packages if you wanted to. And I tested this out. I posted it on my community on YouTube where I installed two Steams. I installed one through an OpenSUSE container on APX, and then I installed a Flatpak one on Vanilla OS itself. And both were working and showing the correct information for it running on OpenSUSE. So that's really cool to see that you're able to do this. So I guess we'll go through APX first, which has like I said, a neat GUI application. And I've already created one subsystem, which is a Fedora subsystem. And basically, if you want to enter this, you have to open your terminal, and I'm pretty sure you'll have to do APX Fedora. Yeah, and as we can see here, it brought up some available commands for us to use. So if we wanted to, we could go APX Fedora install. I guess we could do neofetch. I guess that would work. So now it's setting up these container. As we can look through here, it's already brought up the packages that it needs to install through the Fedora 39 repo, and we can just click Y. Oh no, we would have to do APX Fedora run neofetch, and there you go. So as you can see here, we're just running a Fedora subsystem, which we can just create a new one up here. We can go new subsystem, so we'd have to do OpenSUSE then, and then we could just do create. It will create the OpenSUSE subsystem for us. All right, and then we go here. It is now done. So what we can basically do now is do APX OpenSUSE install. Let's do Discord, for example. I'm pretty sure we can grab Discord from Zipper. They do have it in their in OpenSUSE's repositories. As we can see here, it's downloading all the required .rpm packages for Discord to be installed. And after this is done installing, it's just going to create a shortcut in our application menu, and we'll be able to launch Discord in an OpenSUSE container. Alright, and as we can see here, it's done installing all the packages plus Discord to finish it off. And it did see a permission denied reload request, but it did export the application. So we'll see if it will actually launch. As you can see here, Discord on OpenSUSE. And And there we go. It actually decided to launch. It took a little bit for it to launch, but it did actually launch and launch the update. And as you can see here, it says Discord on APX OpenSUSE.vanilla.os in brackets, so that we know it's running in the OpenSUSE container. So that's really cool to see that you can just like install whatever the hell you want in a container, like any application, and it will export it for you. So then you don't have to, launch it from the terminal. You can just launch it straight from your application menu. And as well, there is some other things like we can check the containers here that we can create and to see what package managers they use. And you can even create your own package manager if you want to, which I did, and it was really funny. It was an inappropriate word, but basically what you can do is you can just do whatever name, let's say cat, for example, and it will require sudo, and you can do cat auto remove, cat clean, cat install, cat list, cat purge, cat remove, cat search, cat show, cat update, cat upgrade, create, and then I'm guessing we could probably just use this and go cat update. There's no such file directory. I'm guessing I'm using it wrong, but it says built-in no. So it's you can do this, and it does seem to work kind of. I think you would have to do a bit more setup, but I'm not going to go through that. That's just a neat little thing that you can do. And I guess that's all for really that APX does. It does do a lot more things than just, a package thing. It does create subsystem with containers, and I guess we'll go into the VSO, the vanilla system operator, which is what I was reading before as well. And it's an update manager, it's a system shell, it's a package manager, and it supports Android applications. So with the commands, you can just do VSO, and you can do update to do your main update, and it also does actually check the repositories in your subsystems as well, which I think is really cool. It does come up here that we're storing a legacy keyring because of the OpenSUSE, and how it stores keyrings is a different way, which is the older way, which isn't used anymore. What we can do here, we can just do help to have a look at the commands, and if we want to, we can do VSO install. So we can install, like, I don't know, Gnome tweaks, for example, which I'm pretty sure I already have installed, but it would go through, install it, and then as you can see here, tweaks on VSO Pico. And this is where one of the issues occurred for me, as I wanted my maximize and minimize buttons on my applications, and they didn't work when I enabled them. What actually happened is like, oh, there you go, it's working. It only happens in some applications, and when I close the Gnome tweaks application, it basically resets. So I'm pretty sure this is because of the VSO subsystem, and it has an issue with the immutable, how the partitions work, and that's why it's not working properly. But it does seem to work a little bit. But back to VSO, if you want to install an application, you just go VSO install, and then the application you want to do. You can also do side loading. So if you have like a .apk or a .debian, you could do that. You can enter a shell. You can run an application. You can do a pico init, which initializes the VSO subsystem, which it already gets initialized when you first open the terminal, or when you open the terminal every time, it will enter the subsystem for you automatically. But like I said before, VSO can run Android applications. So what we can do is we can do Android help, and then we can do VSO Android launcher. And then what this will do is it will start the waydroid session, which, if you don't know what waydroid is, it's basically trying to run Android on Linux. And as you can see here, it's now starting, and it runs Lineage OS, which is a custom ROM. It's an AOSP ROM. If you know anything about the custom ROM space, this is a very stock AOSP type of ROM that basically has the bare minimal of applications installed for you, basically the basic. But I've installed some applications on here, like a store for F-Droid, as well as the Aurora store, which doesn't work for me at the moment. It keeps crashing. But as we can see here, we have Clash of Clans installed. It does work. So which is pretty crazy to me, because I've always heard that, like, running a emulation, or it's not emulation, it's like translation of Android applications on Linux was basically pretty hard to do, or just no one was really doing it. So that was like one of the stopgap for some people coming from Windows, was they can't run their Android applications, but now you can. So as you can see here, my base is loaded. This is my base that I've been using for, I don't know, like 15 or probably like 12 years now. I've been using this base for. So and I was able to log into it without needing Google Play services, or the Google Play Store, or Google Play Games. I could just log into my the Cell ID thing with Clash of Clans, and yeah, as you can see here, the game is working, which I think is really cool. And we can basically go out of here, close it, and have a look through some other things like the settings. So this is based on 11. And yeah, it's really cool and really neat, I would say, that you can just run waydroid on your Linux machine through a Android VSO subsystem container, basically. So what we are going to do here is do a test run of installing X/Twitter on the Vanilla OS system. We are going to do open with, and then we're going to choose the sideload application that is installed on Vanilla OS. And we'll see if this works. It might not even launch, as well as I think X requires some Google Play services to actually work. But let's just see if the application will install, which it is starting the waydroid session, so it probably is going to enter that session for us and then install the application. It's really cool that they decided to create this, and it says it is done. I don't know if it creates a shortcut. It doesn't, so we're going to have to enter our okay, well, after installing the X application, it seemed like trying to launch the Twitter/X doesn't want to launch. So what I would probably do is what I did with Clash of Clans, as that wouldn't launch either, was actually just enter the launcher and then install the application in waydroid, and then try and launch the application in the waydroid session instead of using the sideload for the Android application. As probably because it's not launching, is I don't know the actual name of the Twitter application, which would probably hey guys, I'm back. My video stopped recording as we ran out of space on my SSD, as I created a pretty small partition for Vanilla OS, and my video took up 12 gigs, which is a lot for a video. But I mean, I am recording at like 1440p at a pretty high bitrate in H.265 codec. But we are loading up the waydroid session to install X, which we just did before, but I wasn't recording. So if we have a look here, we have X installed. We did find an APK file, and you would just install it as you would on an Android phone, and you can basically just start using X if you want to. But like, I would just run it in a browser. But if you want to, you can just run like really whatever application you want on waydroid through this container. And it seems like this is kind of the solution if you want to play mobile games, especially if you want to play like PUBG Mobile or Call of Duty Mobile, or like I said, Clash of Clans. All these games should work if they don't require any like crazy Google Play services, which even then you probably could get Google Play services to install properly. But that's enough for the waydroid session. I think that's really neat that you're able to do that. And I guess we'll go into how to install, if you want to install, let's say, a .debian package. So I guess we could install the Steam Debian package. So we just go to the Steam website, we go install Steam, and then we would do, just download Steam. It would probably grab the .deb package, I'm guessing. And yes, it did grab the .deb package. So what we can do here is we can open with sideload, and then it will see here, it was a Steam launcher for Steam software distribution software, and then we would go install. So this is where it will create a Steam Debian package, which would be kind of neat if you want to use a system packaged version of an application like Steam, like if you want to use System Messer, if you're on an AMD system or Intel system. But I don't think Vanilla OS has a new enough packages really to have a amazing experience when it comes to playing games on an AMD system. But it should create a shortcut for us. I'm I guess not. That seems a bit odd. Maybe a restart would fix this, but guessing we'd probably do VSO run Steam, I'm guessing. And as you can see here, it's detecting that there's some missing 32-bit libraries. So we click enter, and it said it couldn't execute the required file. So it said required file not found. So I guess the .debian type stuff is a bit tricky to get running when it comes to like a Steam package. Like it wants the 32-bit libraries, it's not going to work properly. I guess you could probably try and install maybe the Discord.debian package. So if we go to Discord's website, we're going to have 3 Discords installed, one from Flatpak, one from OpenSUSE subsystem, and then one from a Debian subsystem, basically. So that's quite insane, I would say, that we're creating this many Discord applications on our system. So we open Stadler, do install. Look at the output of what it needs to download, and then we would do VSO run Discord, and as we can see here, we're running a .debian version of Discord. So we have 3 different versions of Discord installed, which is pretty crazy to see. But yeah, that's what it comes down to with running Vanilla OS in a that is a immutable distro. You have these neat applications that let you create these subsystems like an Android waydroid subsystem or a Fedora subsystem. I think you can create an Arch system as well if you know how to do that stuff with DistroBox. And when it comes to setting up games, that is also pretty easy. You would just install a Flatpak application for Steam by going to your Gnome software. You do Steam and then install it, or maybe Heroic Launcher. That'd be another great one that we can launch, and these applications all work properly as they run through Flatpak, and theming works properly as well. And I would say that Vanilla OS seems to be a pretty good immutable distro, and I think it will serve a lot of people who are really into development work, or even some newbies who just want to use like one package manager. I feel like that's what's good about Vanilla OS is you can just use Flatpak, nothing else, and then you don't really have to worry about updates as much, as it will just do that whole AB partition with updates, and it will just do a snapshot of whatever update, and then it will install it, and you'll basically be good to go, and you won't even really notice the differences because you're running this, Flatpak application suite. And then if you want to, you can kind of create your own subsystems as well. So the only other issue that I had with Vanilla OS was that mounting my drives, I don't think it was saving things correctly. In the what's it called, like the fstab wasn't saving it correctly when to auto mount these drives, so I have to manually open up Gnome disk and mount them every time, which isn't that annoying, but it's just something that I have to do every time on Vanilla OS. I'm guessing it's because of like how Vanilla OS is set up with the immutable partitions. I guess it just like forgets what I did with it auto mounting, and then it just doesn't do it when next time I boot up. But I would say that besides that and the minimize and maximize buttons, Vanilla OS 2.0 is looking like a really good release, and I would say you could definitely try it right now and install it and test it on a separate partition, or install it on your main partition, or a VM even, if that works. I remember Vanilla OS 1 did have some VM issues, but besides that, I think this is a really good immutable distro, and it will serve a lot of different types of people. So if you enjoyed this full rundown of Vanilla OS 2, definitely give it a like, and definitely subscribe to the channel. And also thank you to my supporters. I'll show them up on the screen for you guys to see. And I want to thank you guys for supporting me as per usual, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.